people don't I'm very
Yeah,
cognizant of remembering people. Like, I'll
sure.
see somebody at the flea market, and I'm like, I know that guy. And then I'm like, I used to see that guy at another flea market 25 years ago.
I do the thing where I just stare at you from across the way, and I'm like, I know you, but God, I don't remember you at all. But I won't break eye contact, and then you'll look at me, and then you'll get weird. So it's either at that point, it's up to you. Do you recognize me? Because then you'll come up to me. But if you don't, then I've just ruined your whole day.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hey, watch him, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching
Oh.
with Dan and Tony.
It's like I'm riding the breeze with you. It's melodic. It's windy. I like it a lot.
It's like you're standing on the wing of a plane and you can't be blown off for reasons that we'll never understand.
And how did you get on the plane, Dan? Did you by chance drive a motorcycle off a cliff onto it? What the hell?
If I'm going to get on a plane, that's how I'm going to get on a plane.
I mean, it's cooler than getting on just the stairs, that's for sure.
So we're a couple of assholes who spend our free time watching movies, then spend more of our free time talking about those movies for your enjoyment.
Oh, well, no, for our enjoyment.
For our enjoyment.
And then we're waiting for other people to enjoy it as well. So get on board, guys.
Hop on the taxi that doesn't take you into the movie. It's an inside joke.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
There's like 20 Dan Goodsell rules of comedy. Inside jokes, do not do them.
So here we are doing them right now.
I'm breaking the Dan Goodsell comedy rules, and I'm Dan Goodsell. Who are you?
I'm Tony Zek.
Or Check.
Or Check. Or Chiswick. That's what I was called in high school, and I don't know how you get that pronunciation, but I'll allow it.
So each week, one of us gets to pick a movie. This week, I got to pick the movie. I picked the movie Infinite, which, of course, neither of us had heard of. And there's a reason why neither of us had heard of this. A movie with Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark!
Chiwetel Ejiofor in maybe the worst role I've ever seen him in.
What, remind me, what else would I have seen him in?
He was in the Serenity movie with the Firefly. Playing the bad
Firefox, the web browser.
Playing one of the best bad guys of all time. Having some of the greatest bad guy speeches of all time.
Sure. Second to this movie, of course.
Being one of the coolest character villains in a movie ever. And now he's having to do this movie.
About, what is it, 15 years later? So things are looking up.
2021, hour and 46 minutes. This movie was so bad they COVID delayed it twice, and then they released it to Paramount Plus for streaming and never put it in a movie theater.
That's interesting information. I just figured it was made for Paramount Plus with like a limited budget, and that's unfortunate.
Based on a book called The Reincarnation Files or something that this guy self-published, and then put the book out into the world and wrote in there, if you know anybody that's a Hollywood producer, give them this book.
Shut up. That didn't happen. That is a made-up story, Dan.
Happened.
Absolutely
happened. Ended up in these stupid Hollywood producers' hands. They made the movie, and the guy has got 2 more sequels. He's got like a prequel, which is just like an online book you can read, and then he's got a sequel, which hasn't come out. He put the first book out in 2011. You'd think you'd want to have the second book ready to go when the movie came out.
Well, especially if you get it into the hands of a hot Hollywood producer.
And on the Wikipedia page for the book, it says,
oh no,
it's pumping up the movie, but then it says the movie's plot really has no relation to this book.
They ruined my self-published book.
And you read the log line for the book, and you're like, okay, I can see this, and then. The movie, they just Hollywood the shit out of this, and it's just a disaster.
Butcher it.
It's just a disaster.
Oh, that's hilarious. I mean, not for this self-published author. That's too bad.
Yeah, who knows? The book might be good, might be trash. Who knows? But the movie.
But either way, let's say it's trash. he still got it made.
Oh yeah,
That's huge. But then they fuck up your one shot. This is his one shot, man. This is Eminem moment right now, and someone else just pulls the rug out from under him. And is instead, we're just going to make this a shitty movie, and no one's going to want the sequel. That's tough. That's tough.
I mean, we see it all the time, like the Ugly Dolls, that poor Ugly Dolls movie. Holy moly. That was just a steaming pile of garbage from like on every level. And I remember, I collected those and I'm part of that scene. And so, just to watch.
Do you still have them or do you sell
Sold
them?
most of them. They're very pricey.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like, Monkey Bone was the same way. That dude,
He's an artiste.
And, these guys get paid. They make some money,
I hope so.
So, yeah, what do you think about this movie? Did you enjoy it, Tony?
I fell asleep during this movie. Full disclosure. Here, my biggest problem, I mean, there's lots of problems. My biggest problem is there's too much nonsensical action. And I don't mean the action itself is like too hard to follow or anything. I just mean, why is there an action scene? Why aren't we talking about what's happening? Where's the story? There's hardly any dialogue in the movie, and we just kind of go from explosion to explosion. I don't know what we're doing. I don't have a clue what's happening in most of this movie.
Well, and when they do explain things, immediately things start compounding, and you're just like, why? Huh? What?
Well, which is why I'm assuming they do it sparingly, because they felt the same way. They're like, we don't really know how to get this story working, so we're just going to throw some stuff at the screen and hope you enjoy yourself. And I did for a while, and then I got fatigued.
You had action overload. And I mean,
I did.
That's the thing about it, is this movie tried at one point to be Pulp Fiction. At one point it tried to be the Fast and the Furious. And then it just tried to be every other action adventure. Did you see The Gray Man?
No. Should I? It's on my list.
It's okay. I didn't walk away hating the people. I didn't bring it to this show. Because you have Chris Evans playing the bad guy, and there's a lot of things in that where you're like, it's not a good movie, but you're like, this movie's like that, but worse, where they can't even be like a decent action movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they can't.
You haven't learned anything from the Jason Bourne movies. It's like, just go watch a Jason Bourne movie, steal from that, and you're going to be okay.
I don't know. It's hard. That's a technically very accomplished film, Dan.
Those ones are all pretty. I haven't watched them in a long time.
They are. It's a skill. If you watch a lot of the few years after the Bourne movies came out, everyone's doing that shitty shaky camera, and that nobody knows why it doesn't work, but it doesn't work because you're shaking the camera. It's an immersive move. It's not just do it for no fucking reason. Like there is thought and planning into making that work, and people didn't understand that, so they just started doing that. Oh yeah, we'll just do this so no one knows what the hell's happening on screen. That's not the way it works. So be very careful when you copy something that's very good. Make sure you understand what makes it good. That's all. That's just my tip for the day, filmmakers. Good luck to you.
Tony's tips. I've got my rules of comedy.
The TTs.
Tony has his Tony's tips. We're gonna do this. So
we'll make a shirt.
As with any great movie, we're gonna push in a bunch of voiceover at the beginning to make sure that you understand that the premise is incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
we're not gonna let you learn the prep. You think about the Matrix movies where it's like, Neo's in there and there's no voiceover at the beginning of a goddamn Matrix movie.
Because the movie tells you what's happened. Like it shows you were along for the ride. This movie gives you a story in the beginning, and then, like all great movies, tells you in the middle, again, one of the characters recaps the voiceover from the beginning, just in case you forgot what we started with. We're back there. I hate that so much. There's no reason. She said verbatim, she says some of the things from the beginning. What is the point of that? Why is it in the movie twice?
So we set it up that there's this group of people, which I think we find out is 500 people, I think, at some point.
Yeah, that sounds like the stupid arbitrary number.
200 or 500. And these people have perfect memories of all their past lives. Okay.
Except for one.
He's broken for no known reason. And then there's two groups. The believers who are I'm here to help society and I'm a good guy wearing white. And then there's the nihilists who think that this power is a curse and want to kill everybody on the planet and all life on the
Yeah,
planet.
because that makes sense, right? I don't even understand that. What do you mean? Why is that? How is that the logical leap? He wants his life to end so badly, so instead he's going to kill everybody else?
Because
I don't get
that's
it,
the
Dan.
only way. There has to be zero life on the planet, so he cannot be reincarnated and go through the cycle again.
I don't know if I buy that, Dan.
It sure seems like a dangerous pitch. You might like wake up as a moon man, and you're like, and I'm a fucking moon man. What the fuck?
That's what I mean. Like, you're making a lot of assumptions. I know that you've been around for a long time, so you've seen a little bit more than I have, but that feels like a large logical leap to assume that Earth is the only thing with living creatures, and you're not going to get zapped somewhere else. And you're probably thinking, hey, the odds are, I've been at Earth every time, so the odds are there's nothing else out there. But that's, again, you don't know.
I don't know. So,
I hope, you know what? I hope that this is what I would have done if I made this movie. He would have won, right? He would have won. Earth died. And then he gets zapped to some, like, the worst planet you could think of. There's some shit planet where he's just like a shit fly flying around, landing on shit, eating shit. And then the rest of his existence, just eating shit.
And so he's created this magic technological AI nanobot egg.
I mean,
which is this big and that big and this big and that big.
When he puts it, this is going to sound weird. When he puts it inside himself, Dan, did you think it was going to fit until they showed him holding the egg? Because before that moment, the only time I had seen it, I thought it was huge.
I thought it was.
Yes,
I thought it was like about this. Well, I thought maybe in the case it was going to be like this big.
100%. So when he made a little cut in his side, I was like, what's going in there, dude? I thought it was going to be his whole stomach. I thought he's going to have to empty out his guts. They're going to have to lay it on the ground, and he's just going to shove it inside and sew it up. I was very confused when he tried to do that.
Going to have to.
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of it.
Anally insert it. So we start off with this Fast and the Furious car chase where people
Sure.
Did Anton Fuqua, who directed this, did he do any of the Fast and Furious movies?
I want to say no.
Okay.
I'm not. I guess I can't be sure, but I don't think so.
They love in these car chases to have cars driving down the road backwards, as if a car can drive backwards at the same speed a car can drive forwards, which
I've done it.
It cannot, right?
I've done it. Dan.
You've driven down the
All right, you should
backwards?
see me. I whip around, I do 180 while I'm doing 60, and then I'm going backwards and I'm shooting out the windows, and then I flip back around. No, I don't know. I don't know how cars work.
Yeah, it's gearing, right? Gearing is what makes you go faster. The gearing changes and you can go faster, right? That's how it works. And
this is an interesting
there's only one
thing, Dan.
There's only one reverse gear. You don't have 4 reverse gears, so you can't go 60 miles an hour backwards.
Dan, you're blowing my mind right now.
Why?
If I'm being 100% honest with you, I've never thought about this before.
I think about it always.
But it does feel like you're right.
No, I'm right. I know I'm right.
I want to disagree with you because a lot of my favorite movies have this in it. But I don't know how to prove you wrong on it. There's no science to back it up.
There's no science.
There's no mechanics to back it up,
true.
I guess I should say, because you're right. It's just reverse. Even in my head, like, but it's an automatic, Dan, so it automatically shifts to the next gear. But that's not how gears work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe.
Fuck, man.
Oh, you could be.
I don't think so. And to be fair, all the Fast and Furious cars, they're all manuals. A lot of them are manuals in a lot of movies. So I'm not feeling good right now, Dan.
Yeah, don't feel good.
You've shattered a belief system so deep in me.
So ostensibly our good guy seems like it's contemporary, but somehow I think we're supposed to think this is like 30
I'm glad we're
years
talking
ago,
about this.
40 years ago?
It's very confusing because this are we in the future?
No, this is
when
the
it's
past.
the present day.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But there's no, because that was now.
seemed
When Dylan O'Brien is driving the car, that is now. All of the technology is now.
Who's Dylan?
I promise you. It's not 1980, 1990. It's now.
Feels very now. The cop cars look like now. Everything looks like now.
I'm very confused about the time frame of this movie. And I understand that it's, science fiction or whatever, but they don't tell me when this is happening. And both of those time frames look identical to me. There's nothing that sets them apart to tell me that, oh, this is the next iteration other than, past life, present life.
He should have been wearing
it's very confusing.
Miami Vice shit. He should have been driving a little James Bond car, VW Bugs. I mean, it would have been super cool if they were like in shitty old cars. If they were in shitty old cars or, old cars that are old, we'd have been like, oh, this is interesting. But no, we were like,
100%.
Everything has to be exactly the same, even though this has to take place 30 to 40 years before the movie that we're watching. Because Marky Mark's he's 50 years old.
Not a young guy. Yeah, not a young guy.
This has to be like, this has to be like 50 years ago. So this has to be like the 70s.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know. It doesn't make any sense unless the present life is the future, but it doesn't have future technology.
Oh, they have lots of future technology.
Well, they have one Iron Man scene.
No, I mean, they have magic technology from the future, but the rest of the world seems very normal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes. Agreed. But that's because they're like super spies or whatever, right?
Okay. So basically
Wait, before we go any further, let's talk about Dylan O'Brien.
Who's Dylan O'Brien?
Who's Dylan O'Brien? He's the guy in this scene.
Oh, he's the original Treadway?
He is the he's the original, the OG Treadway, Heinrich Treadway.
Okay, here's your thing. Don't look at your notes. Look at me. Look at me. At me.
I'm looking right at you.
Name one other character in the movie. I should have said for $100, but I don't have $100.
Oh, can I look at my notes now? You can't
look at your notes.
Ah!
That's the whole idea.
Boy, what is the bad guy's name? They say it.
Yeah, they say
it. They're like, oh,
they say his name
it's Treadwell versus Bathurst. Bathman.
I call him
I couldn't do it.
I call him Bathhorse.
Bathhorse.
And that tells you everything you need to know about a movie. We know who Neo is. We're like, Neo, we got it.
Yeah.
Trinity.
Morpheus. Yeah. Agent Smith. Come on.
These are names. Their name evokes something. This guy's name is Heinrich Treadway. And what was his real name in the movie? What was his character before he remembers?
My notes don't say that. Wade?
I think it's
Wade?
Think it's Evan.
Oh, no, I think you're right. I think you're right.
And they say that they say that name a fair amount of times because they're differentiating between Treadway and him. But if you don't know the characters' names of the movie you just watched, and we're paying attention.
Yeah. But now you have distracted from what I wanted.
Okay, what do you want to say?
Just that I love Dylan O'Brien, and I was really mad that he wasn't in this movie further because he's in the trailer. And when you picked this movie, I watched the trailer. I was like, oh shit, Dylan O'Brien's in this movie. I can't wait. And then he's dead in like 5 minutes. And then they tease you because his body is still there. And I was like, oh shit, they're going to resurrect the old guy. And then I got confused on how that would work with two treadwheels. Doesn't really matter. That didn't happen. And then his body was just floating and they teased me. And I was mad the whole time. I kept waiting for Dylan O'Brien to come back because I like him way more than I like Marky Mark.
I wanted that body to come back alive too. I'm like, oh shit, he's going to come back alive. It's going to be freaky and weird.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
We'll talk
about the body. So there's a chase. Yeah. Basically, he jumps off of a freeway overpass, propels himself out of the car, and then lands on a crane, and then fights the bad guy.
How fast do you think he's going?
I don't care. I mean,
I care a little bit because he's driving up a ramp at high speeds. Yeah. Okay, he goes into a spin, head spin, tail spin, whirlwind.
Loses a ton of speed doing that.
Loses a ton of speed and then somehow gets launched out of the car. But that's not how that would even work but then he hits right mid-chest into metal crane and somehow just like is fine and grabs onto it. This guy's dead.
No, he could.
I don't understand what's even happening.
Oh, because nothing affects him. He does.
Except for when he cuts himself to put something inside him.
He does. He does magic, Tony. He's Magic Man. Magic Man.
That's true. Little sleight of hand.
Okay, so eventually he fights with the bad guy, and then he falls to his death, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah.
We sort of see that all through the movie. And basically, he has taken their magical egg that could destroy the world, and it disappears. And what we're going to find out is that he put it inside of his body. Spoilers.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Don't you think they would have checked his body?
He had to have an autopsy done, right?
You would have think they'd have run him through a machine.
corpse.
If he had like big scars that were recently opened and then burned shut with a thing. I mean,
he fell several stories to his death, right? Even if, let's say he didn't go to a coroner. Let's say they took his body for science or whatever, which is what they say, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What a weird excuse. But they would have seen a hole. Did he sew it? But he just burned it up, right?
Well, it's the whole idea of cauterization of a wound, right? Which of course doesn't work if you got to seal the wound up. You got to tie it shut.
Yeah, and then you burn it so it molds. Right, but they would see that either way.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't die in a fire.
No.
He just fell.
And if he died in a
they'd
fire,
be like,
the
hey,
egg
what's
would
this
be
weird thing in his side?
And the other thing is the believer good guys, there's like one other car of them. There's 1,000 cars of police. So the bad guy's in charge of everything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wait, who?
I don't.
He gets out of his car and goes to shoot somebody. Who does he go to shoot?
Who shoots? The bad guy?
The bad guy. Chiwetel Ejiofor is
the
there with the
bad guy
gun.
shoots the other car, the boyfriend in the other car.
Why didn't he just...
And then traps him in a computer.
Wait, but why didn't he trap the stupid woman? Oh, she died quick enough?
Yeah, I think she was hurt. I think she was like already hurt in the car or something. So I think she was on the way out, and then he trapped the guy with the computer ray gun.
So her super boyfriend is dead. So there is no sexual tension whatsoever in this movie.
That is correct.
And there's not even not even real revenge. She doesn't even like really make it a revenge plot, right?
No, she's more just like, I need to free him. It's not even really about Sweatpants. What's his name? Hayden Hurst? I don't know what the guy's name is. What do you call him?
I don't know.
The bad guy?
Oh, Chiwetel. Oh, Thirst horse. Nurse horse. Bath horse. Nurse horse.
Nurse horse.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It's terrible. This is a bad movie, dude.
We have a music video. Oh, during the thing, he runs over bricks, and then the one brick like flies right through a cop car, then all the way back through to another cop car, and they almost make it seem like he was in control of the brick. Didn't they?
Well, I mean, to an extent, he was. He shot it right at him with his tires.
And then the cool evil guy blows them up with a spiky bullet. And then Marky Mark remembers it all in a dream. Then what do we have next, Tony?
He's trying to get a job?
No, more voiceover.
Oh, but there's voiceover through this whole thing. I don't understand. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I thought...
Yeah.
Here's what I thought, Dan. I thought we were going to find out that the voiceover in his head was his past lives informing him of what's happening.
Oh.
That's what I thought was going to happen. And then instead, they just fade that out and never use it till the end of the movie again. And it's stupid.
That would have been an interesting conceit, you know. Look at me. What a dumb fuck I am. Can't even fucking figure shit out. God damn it.
Right?
Fucking get your shit together,
and it's just
dumb
this
fuck.
other him like banging at the door, you know, like, let me in. But it's not that.
Okay, we're going to have a discussion.
Oh, I love discussions. Go.
Tony, you're a treadway. You're one of these infinites.
I wish.
You're going to be the same goddamn asshole whether you remember that your past lives are you.
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. Was that it? Was that
That's
the whole
question? Because this movie, like posits that he's like a different character somehow. Yeah,
and that's it doesn't make any sense because then he is, and I don't want to get in trouble, but kind of schizophrenic then, because he does have, he's two different people. He's not Treadway then. He's this other guy, and then Treadway is inside him. That's different to me than actually being Treadway and just not remembering who you are.
Mm-hmm. And
right?
It's such a huge difference because at different times they talk about Treadway being certain ways that are not at all what his character is. And then when he becomes Treadway or reintegrates the memories, he is still 100% the Marky Mark character and never seems like Treadway. And
nope, he's never that guy.
There's literally a scene where he has integrated with the memories and he's still referring to Treadway as a different person than him.
Yep.
Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, to me, it makes even less sense because they bring up schizophrenia and they talk about how he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he might be. I don't know. He's got two very distinct personalities. He knows that. He differentiates between the two. I do the same thing because they're not. I don't know. It's very confusing. Well, no, they did a terrible job.
It's not that he has two different personalities. He just has a bunch of memories, which it wouldn't really drive you crazy to have memories because you have dreams every night that are all this random bullshit information, and it doesn't freak you out. You're just like, oh, what a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah, I wake up to weird dreams all the time.
We're not touching that one.
You want to talk? We could get into some shit.
So we do a voiceover where he talks about having the dreams, and he has to take antipsychotic medications, and then he goes for an interview to get a job because he needs money to pay for drugs. Yeah, do you want to talk about this stupid interview?
I do want to talk about the interview just at the end.
Yeah.
So do you have anything you want to say before it's the handshake?
They had this weird looking guy as the boss.
Well, yes.
I don't know who cast that guy. He's so weird looking. You're just like, this guy's so weird.
I'm going to be honest. I want to be hired by whoever cast this movie. Let's be very clear. But this was a very poorly cast film. I didn't agree with many of the choices. In this movie. I thought a lot of people were fairly bad.
Oh, they were all terrible.
Right. So, and maybe that's not their fault. Maybe it's script. I don't know. Maybe it's a self-published script. It was not good.
Everybody tries so hard. Toby Jones has 2 scenes in this movie, and you're just like, what is Toby doing in this movie?
He doesn't know. You know what I mean?
He's trying, and it's just like, oh my god. Okay, so the handshake. So the evil restaurateur is like, I'm not hiring you because you beat up a guy one time because he was harassing a woman, and that means you're crazy and you shouldn't have a chance, and I'm rich and you're a piece of garbage.
Yeah, essentially. And so then they're saying goodbye, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but the boss says something about oh, I knew what you were like before you came in. And then Mark Wahlberg says in return, he's like, well, I knew all about your character from your well-moisturized hand. And I don't understand the line.
Oh, Tony's angry. You're angry because you moisturize and you're like, he's slapping the face of the moisturizers?
Well, first of all, yeah, because you should moisturize your skin. You got to take care of your skin, guys. All right, otherwise you're gonna look 60 when you're 40. That's not what I want with my life. I want to look good. But more importantly, what does that have to do? You got oily skin? Is that what you just said?
Crepey.
Oh, you got creepy skin? If you listen, I'll give you a skincare routine you're going to love.
Never do it.
Okay? 30, 45 minutes every morning, you're fine. I just don't understand what it means, Dan. I don't understand. What does that say about his character? What is he insinuating? And also, what does that mean for Marky's character? Because that never comes back later. I have no idea what's happening when he says this.
This is a line that a writer wrote that he thought they were being clever because it references something in their stupid life. And, it's also like, why are you even seeing this guy? I already know everything about you. That's why I'm seeing you. It's like, it's not a favor. It's like someone called in a favor to see you, but he's just like, everybody, there's no reason for this scene other than to try to show us.
It doesn't make any sense.
That he's a good guy underneath, but he's, got a hair trigger.
But he doesn't really.
No.
And he
doesn't have a hair trigger at all.
In my opinion, I understand you shouldn't put hands on people, blah, 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 blah. This guy was harassing a woman. He said, stop. The guy did not. He beat his ass. Great. I applaud that. Good for you, Mark. I don't understand. That doesn't show me that he's a bad guy in any way. And then this interview is actually, to me, makes him look worse because he just looks weird. Why is he being aggressive in this? And why is he talking about his moisturized hand? It makes me feel like he's a creep. Okay?
Okay. So then he goes home and does some blacksmithing for fun with memories of when he was a Japanese blacksmith. And then he makes like the perfect sword because he has blacksmith gear. He can't pay his rent or buy his pills, but he has a full fucking blacksmith forge.
He's got a fucking forge in his room.
He doesn't go to like the local community college and use their forge. No, he's got his own. He doesn't like say to his buddy, "Oh yeah, buddy, let me use your forge." No, he has his own forge.
Buddy, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. Let me use your forge for free. It's bizarre. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I was so confused because it's just a hard cut, and then all of a sudden he's just smithing in his apartment. I'm like, what is happening right now? That doesn't make any sense. But on top of that, Dan, it's, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into this, but it feels like this movie is trying to, in a way, excuse cultural appropriation. Because he's like, oh, don't worry, he can do it. He used to be Asian. Like, that's what I got from this.
There's this whole sort of like,
so weird.
How can we make white guys be a part of Asian culture? Because at the end, he turns into an Asian kid.
Yep, sure does. It's very weird.
Who, of course, instantly has all his memories. So white guy doesn't get the memories except sort of cursorily till he's 50. Asian kids, 14 years old, has all the memories.
Yeah. I don't know. This movie's weird, man.
So he's going to hit the sword to a drug guy who somehow knows that he could make this sword in addition to being his normal drug supplier.
It's very strange. And also, I just want to say, I think you could probably sell a sword that nice to a real person for good money.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, God, yes.
Everybody talks about the craftsmanship. Why are you selling it for drugs? That should be a business. Start a fucking Etsy where you make swords. People will buy them. People will eat them up like crazy. My old roommate collects swords. It's people do it.
How much?
If you made beautiful, elaborate swords, people would pay so much money for those.
One time I was at like some show where I was selling collectibles, and the guy next to me sold knives. I think he sold knives, or a guy came in and was talking to me, and he's talking about selling knives, and he's like, "We make bank." Yeah. And he didn't make. No, he didn't make them. Somebody, he made them or had them made or something, and so they were very particular. And he was just like, "We kill all the time. The knives destroy."
Because collectors love that shit. If you are making handcrafted swords, people will buy them.
More importantly, with a sword making technique that does not exist on the planet anymore.
Right.
You can't make those swords.
1,000 years or whatever. Yeah.
There are X amount on the planet. You're adding to that X. That is.
You would be famous.
Oh yeah, you could be.
Let's just call it what it is. If you were doing something they haven't done in 1,000 years, and no one even knows how does he know how to do that? You would be huge. You'd be huge in the sword community.
And that's the whole thing is he doesn't have to keep it on the down low because he doesn't know he's on the down low.
Right, he's not hiding that information. I can't let them know I used to be a samurai.
I think he wasn't a samurai. Samurai didn't make their own swords.
I'm sorry. See, now I'm being racist, aren't I?
Super racist, Tony.
Shoot, I'm gonna edit it out.
RT.
No, I won't.
Racist, Tony.
People need to know.
So, do you want to talk about how the deal with the drug dealer goes down?
Sure, we could talk about it. Well, let's talk about the weird lady on the couch.
Kind of hot.
Who's clearly. Sure. Yeah, very attractive, but clearly blitzed out of her mind, has no idea what's happening, which is scary and weird because she's surrounded by 4 dangerous large men. I don't like that. Mark comes in and he's just talking to the one guy, and the one guy's like quizzing him on history things, and the Mark knows everything about history, and they're like, oh, he's one kooky guy.
How do you make gunpowder? 1% this, or 2% that, and 4% that.
Right. Who cares? Why is this happening? Just so we know, he's from the past.
Because we have to show that he has this wide-ranging knowledge because they couldn't figure out how to actually make it important in a scene.
Again, so here's an idea. Go on Jeopardy, Mark. Go on Jeopardy, win $1 billion. You know everything. There are so many ways for you to make money that this storyline is ridiculous. You know everything about everything. That's what I'm getting from this because you've been around for so long. So do something with it. I don't know. Oh, it's so stupid. This character is the dumbest guy I've ever met.
More importantly, each time you do it, and you'd have a bunch of gold, and you just bury that gold in a backyard somewhere. And go dig up your gold.
There you go. There's an idea.
That's what I would do.
Look at that.
I have all this gold. So basically, he gets into conflict. He cuts off the fingers of the one guy, and then I don't know if he kills the drug dealer. I don't even remember. And then he just runs away, and then they're shooting guns at him.
He doesn't kill him. He throws him on the ground. He's fine.
And then runs away. And it's like, they know his name. They know where he lives. They're murderous drug dealers. And you're
not
going to
safe.
need pills.
You're not safe at all.
And it's like, you just literally blew up your whole life.
If he needs that medicine.
Because of what?
Oh,
because they were shorting him 5 pills.
Oh, I did find that funny, by the way. I forgot that part when he was like, here's your medicine. And Mark just looks at it and goes, that's only 55. That's not a skill you get from living a long time. You can't just guess the jelly beans in a jar because you're 1,000 years old. That is not the same thing. I don't understand. Why is that skill in there? And why do we never see it again? This guy can look at a bag of pills and know exactly how many are in there. Well, it's because in one of my other lives, I was a pharmacist. What is happening right now? It's very stupid.
And whatever happened to the jelly bean? Guess the jelly beans in the jar. Whatever happened?
I don't know. People don't do it anymore.
Sad.
I don't know why. It's a fun game. I play it every time. I never win.
So the chase, he remembers being on a mountain. He falls into a car. The cops get him. Then we have the weird Toby Jones scene where he's like, oh, we're the guys and we're talking to each other, but we don't care because we already know they're the guys and we already know they're talking to each other.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, that is correct.
Chewie Tell Elijah Force shows up with the sword and a beard, and then he does a Punic Wars thing, and then Marky Mark's like, I made a sword. Is that a crime? What's going on? It's like he's just like so incredulous until he's not incredulous. It's so terrible.
Dan,
yeah,
I gotta tell you, that might have been your best impression. That was a pretty good Marky Mark.
Pretty close. Did so.
That was good, man. I'm proud of you right now.
So then Chewie,
but that
yeah,
I thought this scene was going to be funnier. I thought this was a scene where you could have thrown in some good humor with him being a little more sarcastic, because there's glimpses of it, but they never let him like go full sarcastic. And I kind of wish that would have happened, because this would have been a good moment for me to laugh a little bit in your shitty movie.
Well, because he doesn't even address the stuff to him, kind of. They're more like, what are you going to arrest me for having a sword? He doesn't like look him in the eyes and say, it's a sword. I didn't do what? You're going to arrest me for the sword? He's not looking him in the eye. He's just sort of, what are you going to arrest me for a sword? He's almost
looking around.
It's almost like he's addressing the people that are watching the interrogation, the whole thing. And he yells for them. Yeah. He's not engaging with Bathhorse at all. And it's weird. You'd think you'd engage with you're alpha mailing it here, and he's like, somebody come in here and save me from this guy. He doesn't look him in the eye and say, back the fuck off.
Yeah.
He's never a badass. He's never a badass in this entire movie.
Oh, no, not at all.
And it's like,
and Treadwell, they set Treadwell up as a supreme badass. And there's a point where, I'm sure we'll brush over it later, but he's in a fight with the one dude, and he doesn't kill him, and the guy's like, that's not Treadwell. Treadwell would have killed me. Why would he have killed you? That's not a character trait. That's great. He's a loon then if he's killing his allies. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not one of the believers that's looking to save the world. If he's like, oh, you're back in the wheel, get off.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then we do the whole, which one of these things is your things game.
Yeah,
I hate that game.
Okay.
I hate that game.
Why do you hate it? I hate it for a very different reason, I assume. Why do you hate it? Tell me.
I hate it because we already know the game. And it's like
Yes.
I'm being clever. It's how they pick the Dalai Lama. It's like, go fuck yourself. We all know that. You're doing it. And in addition to that, he doesn't just line up the 4 things and say pick one. He lines them up and then he puts bullets out. They're like, how can we ramp this up? And it's like, fuck you. It's not ramped up. It's stupid.
It's not ramped up because those bullets don't do anything, Dan. He sets them on the table and then doesn't do anything with them. Here's how you play that game.
He puts one in the gun and spins. He should have kept adding one each time.
Yes, that's how you play the game, which is what they were setting up because he puts it in front of each item. So when you get an item wrong, he puts one in the chamber. That's how you play the game. We know that already. Why aren't you playing it correctly? If it's in your movie and you take the time to set the bullets out, play the game, guy. I was livid during that scene.
Doesn't even know his own stupid game. You set up, it's like setting up Monopoly and you're like, yeah, but the rules are sorry. You're like, what the fuck?
we do whatever the fuck we want. Oh, so frustrating.
Now we're going to get to the worst thing in the whole movie. So he finally...
Wait.
Yeah.
Take a time. Take a chill pill, Dan. I need to talk about one more thing from this scene is when the cop is talking to the lady before he enters the room or after. One of the two. She describes him as, let me see if I can find this. Oh yeah, here we go. She describes Mark's character as, quote, another broker turned hipster blacksmith. You're going to tell me that this is a common thing? It's a trope so well known that we just throw it out there like that? A broker turned hipster blacksmith? I've never seen that before in my life. Don't say it as if it happens every day. That was bizarre.
So he finally picks the sling, where you sling the rocks, and he remembers
slingshot,
being like a caveman or whatever. And then what we do is we cut to the outside, and we see someone driving a car very quickly at a wall, and then we cut to inside the room, and the wall explodes, and this woman has driven the car through the wall.
Yeah. Not only that, but they knew, and they were able to get out of the way.
Tony.
All of that happens in 4 seconds.
Why would you have a shot of the car coming towards the wall? Why would you shoot that?
So that you're not surprised as the viewer. I don't want to scare you, Dan. I don't want you to be taken off guard. I want you to feel comfortable. Okay, I want you to know it's coming so you don't go, oh no, someone's in the wall. It's not a horror movie. Okay?
So
I don't
somehow,
know. It's very
so
stupid.
they ruined whatever suspense or surprise there would be of a car coming through a wall. Like a thing that should be very surprising. You're like, oh fuck, a car just came through the wall. Shit's going on.
I can't believe that happened. Yep. Nope.
The world's least charismatic woman on the planet, other than Jennifer Garner, gets out of the car.
I would take Jennifer Gardner any day of the week. This was
okay. She is Jennifer Garner is more charismatic than this woman. You're correct.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're not big fans of Jennifer Gardner on this podcast, but this lady, oof, she's bad. She's really bad. So the good news is that they took away even the remote chance that they were going to have a romantic relationship.
God, no.
Because I never would have believed it to begin with, Dan. I'll just tell you right now, if Marky Mark, my sweet, sweet Marky Mark, was getting it on with this girl, I'm going to call bullshit. I'm going to be he could do better. Get out of there, Mark.
So it's good to cast someone that's anti-charisma, just so that we never even think that there's going to be romantic involvement between these two characters.
Exactly.
Find me
just like the car going through the wall. They don't want any surprises. They don't want you to think something's going to happen and then switch it. They want you to know right off the bat, don't worry, there's nothing going on here, guys.
So then she's like, get in the car. And he's like, seems like the thing to do.
Okay. That seems like a good choice. Let's do it.
And then they race off, and then Chiwetel's in this gigantic truck, which somehow in like 15 seconds he's gotten to a parking lot, gotten his keys out, put the keys in the car, and his
walking around.
Literally, she crashed through the door. He has guns and shit. He could have just pulled out his guns and shot her in the head instantaneously.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, he only had one bullet in the gun because he wasn't playing the game right, so he needed something else.
Actually, he
there.
had no bullets in the gun, so he couldn't shoot her.
That's right. It was a fake. He faked it. That's right.
Which was a nice little thing when he was doing the I'm going to shoot you until you do it. There wasn't any bullets in the gun, which is kind of lame because if he can count all those pills, he should be able to do the spin, right?
That's a great point, Dan. I didn't even think about it. He should know exactly where that bullet is in that chamber at all times. Oh, that's a good point. Good catch. Good catch.
So now we have a race through the police station in cars, which should be incredible.
The longest police station of all time, because they're driving through it for 30 seconds to a minute at 60 miles per hour.
This should be great. You know, when cars are in a shopping center, you're just like, oh, holy fuck, this is fucking insane. People
got to be jumping out of the way. Shit's got to be flying everywhere. We don't care about any of that in this movie.
We don't care.
Don't worry about it.
Until they crash through and leave the thing, and they had to make like the jump out of there, like not very big because you were just like, that car will not. No,
it's not gonna make it.
And then the car has like this RAM unit on the front, which she pushes like the magic button, and this like CGI disappears.
Well, yeah, and have we gotten to the point where she changes the steering wheel yet?
And then she wants to shoot back at the bad guy, and so she pushes another button, and the steering wheel she has goes whoop, 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 folds into the dashboard, and another steering wheel goes like this, whoop, 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 and then Marky Mark can drive. It
retracts away into where the airbag would be, so you are not safe there. There is no airbag. If you crash, you're dead. And the other one pops out of the other side, and Marky Mark just does a little throwaway like, oh, retractable. No, I can't do it, Marky Mark. You better do it.
Retractable steering wheel? How's that possible? No, not right. Retracting steering wheel? Oh my God.
Oh my God. Say hello to your mother for me. I can't do it. I don't know why I keep trying. It's okay. So this is why I get confused, because I don't understand the technology of the world we live in. He's not that surprised.
No, he's not surprised at all.
The steering wheel disappeared and then appeared in front of him. I would be floored. That would be the craziest thing I've ever seen, and I would be shocked. He's just like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll drive now. Boo. I don't understand. I don't understand.
I'm sure if you went back and looked at Men in Black, when that car starts doing shit, Will Smith, whatever else you want to say about him, he yells and he freaks 100%. Out and he says comedic things that are funny because Will Smith used to be funny.
Yes, he did. Used to be very funny. Used to be great.
Tear runs down Tony's cheek.
R.I.P. Well, not R.I.P. I guess that's too much. What do you say when someone's just been canceled? Is there a
R.I.J. Rest in joblessness.
Good.
So, good. You want to talk about the Believers branding of the car and all of their vehicles?
I didn't even notice it. Do they have their names on it?
All in the car and in the airplane, they have stitched into the seats and on the dashboard the infinity symbol.
What? I mean, first of all, what like a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like that takes time. It takes extra money. Why even do it?
You're there to save the world, and you're gonna like take your car.
I don't know if I believe that, Dan. Tell me what they're doing to save the world.
Oh, the egg.
Other than fighting this one guy who wants to destroy the world, it seems like that's kind of their only focus.
Yeah. Well, more.
Which isn't the same thing.
More importantly, we get to the whole point. At some point, the bad guy lays it out that Marky Mark's character, when he gets his memory back, is going to know where the egg is. And then the bad guy can get the egg and destroy the world. Right?
That is correct.
So why don't they just shoot Marky Mark in the head?
It is confusing to me because he would be born again. Yeah. So just pop him. Just pop him. Let's restart the cycle and then we'll have more time to figure out a better plan because this is not a good plan so far.
Kick him down the line. It's like he doesn't know where it is. Let's finish. And there should have been someone on the team that posits that because I thought of it instantaneously. Did you think of it, Tony?
Dan, I didn't. I didn't think of it, but now that you've said it, I'm like, that's the move because this guy's worthless to us because he doesn't remember. Everybody else, every other single person that's like us knows everything at 14 or whatever they said.
Oh,
by the time they hit puberty, they know everything.
Oh, is that what they said? I did not remember that.
That's what they said, except for the bad guy who's like, I know everything in the womb, which I can't even. We'll talk about that when we get to that scene. But everybody knows by the time they're 14. This guy's 50, 60 years old, doesn't know anything. He's worthless to us. Just cycle it. Just get rid of him. Let's try again. Let's try this one more time.
And that's
it's
the
weird.
whole thing is he has to have the knowledge to actually fix something as opposed to having a knowledge of where the thing that the bad guy needs to destroy the world is. That's backwardsness.
Yeah. Backwardsness is.
Okay, so they get there and we're going to do a bit now. Okay. Because they get to this magical airplane hangar because of course they escape from the police because the police can't follow a single car. And
it's a very fast car.
The bit
I don't know
is
if you noticed.
They're there and she's asking him questions about what he's been going through. And she does the whole, do you ever have one of those dreams where you look in a mirror and you're not in the dream, you're in the mirror and the mirror is not you and you have facial hair because you're a thing? Do one of those, Tony.
Yes.
Do one of those, Tony.
Do one of what?
You know, the do you ever. Come on, Tony, go.
Do you ever get it in the shower and you look down and you think, well, that can't be the right one because I remember it being way bigger. You ever have that feeling?
Never. Never once.
Well, that's every day for me. I must be an infinite. And in my last life, I was like a normal dude. And then this life, got the short end of the stick.
Every life, abnormal dude. It's just like, it's the stupidest thing. It's so dumb, and she's so bad at it. And he's like...
Also, they do that in the beginning as well.
Oh, did
That's
they?
in the voiceover. This is part of her recapping the voiceover from the beginning of the movie. It didn't work the first time. It didn't work this time. To take it out of the movie.
And then she's like, if you get in that plane, you'll get the answers. And he's all like, let's go.
Well, in his defense, I mean, yeah, this is a lot of weird things are happening. Let's get some answers.
Okay, so they're flying. This plane flies like this. Not how planes fly. Not how they fly.
I mean, that's not how planes should fly.
Not how planes should fly.
But maybe maybe it's a bad plane.
He looks out the window at a certain point. And he's all like, "Oh," and she's like, "That's the hub." And we don't see anything out the window. And then in another 30 seconds, we see where they're going.
Why? It should be like this beautiful reveal shot, right? Because he's flabbergasted. And she's like, oh, that's the hub. It never gets old. It's so great. Why don't we see it before? It should be this beautiful establishing shot. And then we cut to Mark being like, oh, wow, this is great. Nope, we don't see anything. I didn't even understand what they were talking about when they said it. I was like, I don't know what you mean.
They have to taxi around like a mountain, and then it becomes apparent after supposedly he saw it and she mentioned what it is. Then we see it, and it's so like this stupid bullshit temple, Buddhas everywhere. It's like, oh, I mean, it's
now. What do they do here, Dan?
They learn to fight.
Okay.
But they already...
Is that you saving the world?
Hold on a second. Okay, I'll ask you a question, Tony.
Yeah.
You've learned to fight for 100 lifetimes. Why do you need to learn to fight again?
Well, maybe like new techniques have come up that you didn't know about. It's the same thing as like if I got divorced, all right, and I had to re-enter the sex world. I feel like I would be unprepared. So I would like to learn new moves. Same thing with fighting. So
you'd like fire?
If I haven't
you'd fire up sexy TikTok so you could learn all the new moves.
Sexy? Is that a genre on TikTok? I'm not a big TikTok guy.
I'm not going to tell you what we were talking about, but there was like this. I get in trouble from Shannon.
Okay, well, speak quietly. She won't hear you.
She's been watching the show. We're talking about things, and I was like, we started talking about Twitch, and I'm like, yeah, all the people that do all the weird streaming on Twitch, they're under the pools, hot tubs, and like baths.
That's a genre on Twitch? This is going to revolutionize my life, Dan. I got to start a channel where I'm just in the jacuzzi all the time. Just jacuzzing with my hairy chest out. I think people would really like it.
And so I started scrolling down on them, and there's just like there were some weird ones going on. But it's just
it's a weird.
but it's it's your classic thing is, but I mean a lot of the women like are in pools in tubs doing the thing and doing like ASMR in pools, like kiddie pools in their like living
First of all,
rooms.
that's another thing I just don't understand, Dan. I don't get ASMR. It actually makes me angry.
I love ASMR.
A lot of people find it very relaxing. I'm just like, I'm over here and I'm like, speak up, I can't hear you. What are you? I can't understand a word you're saying to me. I don't know, it drives me nuts. I don't like it.
I wrote down, it's a temple. It's the headquarters for losers. Actually, I think she says that. Doesn't she say the loser? Does she say we're the losers?
The Losers Club?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We do an apex.
Temple
We do
for
an
losers.
apex predator thing.
Yeah, I don't. Which I don't.
Then they take him to his treadway room, and there's more object testing. And he looks at a picture of when they went up a mountain, and then he saved her from falling, even though he remembers her falling or something. I don't care.
Something very confusing. Yes.
And then we talk about Bathhorse. He lost his faith, and then he decided to make the egg. And then we get this. We stand on this screen, and magic happens around us, and you can watch. It's like it happen, and then he has to like watch the DNA of all the things that the egg does unwind, and then he gets out of it. He's like, that felt so real. I tried to save a small child.
But he barely tried. He wasn't even moving. He just reached his hand out. I call bullshit on that, by the way. I tried to say you didn't do anything. I don't understand this egg.
What don't you understand?
Can you explain to me what it undoes your DNA, the DNA of everything?
And
how would
once
that work?
Once it does it to one thing, then it does it to the next thing. How would that work?
How does that work?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
It's absurd.
Nope.
It's just stupid.
It feels like the MacGuffiniest MacGuffin that we've had yet, to me.
Well, and more importantly, like some scientist discovered it and then he died or something and he made the thing. Let me tell you something. If one scientist can do it, another scientist can do it.
Someone else. Yeah, for sure.
And if you
100%.
have an infinite amount of lifetimes, it's going to happen. Period.
It's going to happen a bunch, probably.
Yeah.
But guess what? It's somehow life finds a way, Jeff Goldblum. So this is not the answer. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Toby Jones gets crossbowed. And then talk about the torture scene where they try and get information out of Toby Jones. What do they do?
I don't know. I just want to talk about the way that he gets crossbowed real quickly. Because it's coming from a window directly across the way.
Oh, is it?
Right?
I don't remember. Yeah.
But somehow his hand gets shot down to stick it into the desk. And then his other hand gets shot straight through. Those two things can't happen from the same shooter. It's just not possible unless she's ricochets the first one off of a metal pan and then it shoots down. I just was very confused by that.
It's like
how do they torture him? I don't even remember.
Pour honey in his mouth. They waterboard him with honey.
That was honey?
Yeah, it's honey because he talked about how Toby Jones used to like honey or make honey, and so then they torment him with honey.
Okay. Why doesn't he just eat the honey then?
Oh no, he's laying
like
back
choking on it.
If they pour too much, it's like when you get waterboarded, you can't swallow the water. It's too much.
Sure, but not the good thing. The reason why waterboarding works is because you also can't breathe out of your nose. There's nothing blocking his nose.
Well, maybe the honey.
He could just close his throat and then breathe out of his nose. He's fine. I promise you, he's totally fine in this scene. But he's acting like he's dying. Nothing is covering his nose, and if it's really, I thought it was like oil, like they did in Fast and the Furious or something. But if it's honey, just eat the honey, guy.
Did they
just swallow?
Did they waterboard somebody with oil in Fast and the Furious?
Yeah, you don't remember that? That's the first one. That's Johnny Tran when he finds the guy in his garage, and he's like, "Oh, what are these missing? Engines! There's no engines!" And then he does the oil. It's pretty dope.
Wait a second.
I love Fast and the Furious, man.
Okay, we got to take a time out. There's a scene I forgot to write down.
Oh, no.
There's a guy laid out on a table, and they're going to pour gasoline on him. I don't don't even know what that scene was. I don't even know what character that was. I don't. What was that?
Wait,
Oh no,
what's
this
happening?
is. This is no. Don't you remember that?
Wait, what?
There's like this
I don't remember
scene
this.
laid out. He's in a church.
Oh, he's waterboarding himself.
Who is?
I mean, he's not doing this is the bad guy. This is
Bathhorse?
Bathhorse, and he's got one of his ladies is waterboarding him, and he said he's trying to find God or something. And so I don't have an answer for you, but that's what's happening. He's doing it. He's voluntarily getting waterboarded. I don't know. That's the best explanation I got.
And then Toby spits out the honey, and then Chiwetel just shoots him even before he gets the information, because he doesn't really need the information, because he already tracked the information based on a telephone call Toby made. So he was torturing him for 100%. No reason.
That is very weird. Also, they're not torturing him, Dan. It's just honey. Are we sure he's not allergic to honey?
No.
Maybe he's allergic to honey.
No.
Because even at the end, you're right, he spits it out.
Yeah.
Just eat that honey. I don't understand. Why does this guy have against honey? Honey's delicious. I'll take one of those honey bears, and I'll just squeeze that thing in my mouth right now, and I promise you I'm not going to die. Ridiculous.
So now we go down, and there's this big chamber that has 50 levels, and it has all these things, and then it's like a book depository of all the old dead bodies of the Infinites, and she pulls the one out, and there's here's your old body, check it out. And he's like, that's gross.
And this is Dylan O'Brien in the nude, and I was like, let's get this. Let's bring him back right now. Fire him up. Frankenstein him. I was so sad that he didn't come back.
So we set up that in addition to everything, because Treadway's been around so long, he could just manipulate everything in the world with his brain.
What? Okay. So
to teach him to remember, they have the bearded guy sort of beat on him. And then they talk about Bathhorse's gun. It's called the Dethroner. Because when they shoot you, I don't know if we talked about this. When he shoots you with the gun, it puts you on a laser disc. It puts you on it puts you on a floppy disk.
Now, and let's not get into religion or anything like that. But the word they said is it takes your soul,
SOUL,
and puts it on a computer disk. What? It's almost like a Ghostbuster machine where he's soaking up the ghost, and you're sucking the soul out of the body. The soul is a tangible thing. This is big news. This is huge news. If you can take a soul out of a body, this is a game changer for the entire world.
Well, I think you can only take the soul out of one of these special people.
Well, that doesn't make any sense either then, Dan. Just throwing that out there. How is their soul... What makes their soul different than my soul?
And
you know what I'm saying?
The discs are this big.
They're very small. And
he's got this cabinet that goes up 12 feet. It's probably 12 feet by 8 feet. And you'd have to get a ladder to get up there to get the high ones.
Yeah, one of those library ladders that slides down on wheels. That'd be cool.
Oh, this movie's so dumb. And more importantly, why doesn't he just shoot himself with his own gun?
So my question, I mean, I have a lot of questions just based on this part of the story, because this is the worst part of the story. But what's happening to you while you're in this digital world?
I don't know.
What are you experiencing? What is your soul going through while this is happening?
They should have said eternal torment.
Because first of all, if that's the case, then those people that come back the next time, they're going to be very angry. They're going to be from hell, returned from hell, and they're going to be murderers.
So the bad guys have cool flight suits, which is in every Marky Mark movie, and they fly into the hub, and
it's clear that it's Mark's decision. That's what I've decided. After these back-to-back movies where Mark's using those suits, he clearly loves them.
and they just take over the hub with no one firing a shot, no one knowing the bad guys are coming, no one's expecting the bad guys to be coming, and they just take over the place. And the good guys have left, and they've gone to see, what's that guy's name? Mukasukis? Matasukis? Manzukis. They've gone to see Manzukis, who is a hedonist, and then he's going to put Marky Mark in this chamber and drown him, and then when he dies, he's going to come back and he's going to remember things, and that happens. But they act like they thought he died, but we all knew he didn't die.
Yeah,
he just comes back.
let's just real quickly talk about this scene very quickly because it's not good. But it's just very strange that everyone's so concerned about he stopped breathing. Oh, he's redlining. Yeah, no, that was the plan. We're going to kill him and bring him back so he remembers everything. But everyone else in the room seems shocked that the plan is happening, even though they know what the plan is.
Did they do anything?
I didn't understand the reaction.
Did they do anything to bring him back? Mouth to mouth, the paddles.
I want to say no, but they probably did. I don't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, at this point in the movie, I'm playing a fair amount of Marvel Snap.
Listen, I can't do that because it takes all of my concentration. I'm not to derail this too long, but what I have found is if I'm not fully paying attention to Marvel Snap, I'm making like just dumb moves all the time because you have to think not only what's best for you, but also you have to kind of guess what your opponent's playing and try to get there. And it's a lot of brain power for me, and I am not great at it. And my biggest pet peeve is when someone snaps on me and then I lose to them, but looking at my hand a second time, like, oh, I easily could have beat them if I would have just played this card here instead of this card over here like an idiot. Why? And then they don't know. They think, oh, I beat this guy, but I should have beat you. I should have beat you. And I just want to be able to tell them that.
So you want a feature where you can yell at them and say you were going to lose.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I want. That's all I want, Dan. Let me talk to these people and get mad at them.
So the bad guys were paying attention, and they had cameras in the room, so they know where the thing is. They know that the egg is in the body. Now everybody, he wakes up, he's like, egg's in the body.
Oh yeah.
So the bad guys,
it's inside,
have already taken the hub, so they have the body, and so they're gonna.
But why is there a cam? Why is he watching on a security camera feed? I don't understand that part.
Because he watches every place that he can. It's like the Batman thing. Remember Batman where he installs the thing in the computer and then he can.
Oh sure, the Christian Bale Batman.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Same thing. He borrowed it from Batman.
All right.
Marky Mark gets shot. The beard guy goes back there to fight them and pretty much destroys everybody. But then they just walk in and just kill him because. Yeah.
Yep.
So we find out that the bomb is going to go to Bathhouse's place in Scotland, and then he's going to put the bomb together, and then he's going to put the bomb on a plane and fly it to someplace else, which I think they specified for an unknowable reason.
I think this is when I fell asleep because the next thing I remember is they're doing a fight in an airplane.
Okay. So basically, they put the bomb on the airplane and are going to fly the bomb somewhere, even though the bomb can work anywhere, and he can just click the button and it destroys the world. But we're going to fly the bomb somewhere because we got to give the heroes time.
Time to stop it. Get a plan together and stop it.
Stupid blonde lady sets up on a hill and she shoots like one shot through the window, misses everything. And then Chiwetel controls drones with a thing, and then the drones can't shoot her because she's running, because you can't shoot someone when they're running. Run.
I mean, it's very hard.
Run.
Have you tried it?
And then they come out in all these other things, and then run. And then Marky Mark shows up.
Running.
And his whole thing is to get the girl into a dune buggy and then to drive the dune buggy to the place in the middle of the day in a black dune buggy that everyone can see. And so they shoot the dune buggy, which doesn't do anything to them. And then they get out.
But it does like flip up and flip over, so that's cool.
Guys come out with machine guns, machine gun. He has like a pew. No. Pew, 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 pew. It's not. He's not an automatic. It's semi-automatic at best. And they have like they have full automatics that should destroy him. He avoids everything, kills everyone. The girl goes inside and fights with this other random woman who has no name and like the least personality of any character in the world, but a nice haircut.
Worse than the lead girl?
Oh, yeah, because she never says a word. She gets yelled at a couple of times. And that's about it. And then she gets in there and is able to destroy the things. The plane takes off. Marky Mark rides a...
Now I'm getting back in the movie now. This is where I remember things again.
Marky Mark rides a motorcycle, jumps off a cliff, is above the plane, crashes the motorcycle on the plane, gets his sword out, sticks it in the plane, and then we do the rocking maneuver of the plane to knock Marky Mark off, which a gigantic plane like this, I can't imagine you can do that. Maybe you can, but I can't imagine.
Not as fast as they're doing it, that's for sure. Like it would be slow. You know?
He then is holding on, and then he's like, oh yeah, I have Matrix powers. And so then he could just walk around on the top of the plane and not get blown off. He opens the hatch, goes inside. Then he kind of loses all the Matrix powers.
Yeah, well, in his defense, now it's Inception.
Yeah.
We're just switching movies real quickly.
Then he fights with Chiwetel, and then he just wins, right?
And it is identical to the hallway fight in Inception, where the hallway's rotating.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that exact same fight. I'm assuming it's the same choreographer, and he's just like, listen, I'll do your movie, but I don't want to choreograph a new fight. So if we could just do this fight, but in a different setting, people won't even know.
And so then everybody falls to their deaths. The uninteresting girl is dead, and then they all reincarnate, and then Jason Matsukas is there to give the samurai sword, which isn't really his sword, to like this kid, right?
Yes.
It was a sword he didn't care about. And he gives it to the kid. Yeah. He's like, this is your sword. And the kid's like, I can cut an apple.
To be fair, the kid was pretty good. I would watch an action movie where that kid is kicking ass. I would totally watch
If this movie was recast with that kid as the guy trying to retrieve his memories, and there was actually a plot where he needed to retrieve the memories for a reason.
So if this was a completely different film.
If this was...
It would be good.
The kid was great. He was very charismatic.
The kid was awesome.
More charismatic than pretty much any... The Jason Matsukas, everybody tries. Toby Jones does his thing. Chiwetel does his thing. It's just none of it lands because the movie
just doesn't work. I don't know why it just doesn't work. It's never able to coalesce. It doesn't. I feel bad for everybody.
There's just like 10 scenes from other movies that they've glued into this movie with a very thin premise.
Yeah, which is exactly what Dan said to do earlier, which is just you find something cool and copy it. But like I said, you got to know why those things work to begin with to use them. You can't just use a spinning airplane and think that it's just as cool as Inception. And by the way, we're going to do Inception sometime. Dan, don't give me that look. Don't give me that look.
Christopher Nolan, so stupid.
You love Chrissy Nolan. He's your best friend.
No, I do not love him. I hate his movies. It's not Inception's though not as bad as the one we watched. What was the thing we watched that was so terrible?
Tenet.
Oh my god, Tenet's so bad.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this pile of garbage, Tony?
Oh, we have spent way too much time on this movie already. It does not deserve the amount of time that we have given it.
I want to see the movie where Chiwetel Ejiofor plays a shit fly on Shit Planet.
Okay. Oh, Billy, I'm bored.
So now it's the point of the show where we get to talk about something we liked, or if Tony wants to change the rules like he always does, talk about something else Tony hated.
I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it right this week. Is it my turn? Well, we watched...
Uh-oh.
All right, let me get a little serious
Sex
here.
Island?
We watched... Well, we've watched a lot of Love Island this week. That is correct, because we were not watching it during Halloween, because you got to watch Halloween stuff during Halloween. So now that it's November, we are hitting Love Island again hard, which is great. It's a fantastic show. But what we watched is possibly the most important film that's come out in several decades.
Not the Munsters?
Not the Munsters. It's a beautiful film about a wonderful, important person. I think everybody should watch it. It's, of course, Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Oh.
And that movie is bananas.
Yeah, it was good.
But very fun.
Where'd you watch it?
Oh boy. So now that's actually a whole I was almost going to complain about it, but the movie's good enough that I didn't. It's on the Roku channel, which you can watch if you have a Roku, or if you have an Apple TV that allows AirPlay. The Roku app is on the iPhone, but I couldn't get those two things to work, so I was getting real mad. So we had to pull the Roku from our bedroom down to our big TV. It was a whole fucking thing. But basically, it's not easy to watch, which is going to be its biggest downfall, because the movie is very funny and worth seeing.
I saw the clips. The clips looked very funny and very crazy.
It is bizarre. I mean, it's half parody of those of like doc movies and just half absolute batshit crazy.
Well, good. I mean,
and Daniel Radcliffe is honestly, I think, one of my favorite actors right now. He does some crazy shit, and it's great. He's making some choices.
It's beautiful to see somebody that has options, that chooses the options that make them feel good.
Yeah, 100%.
As opposed to just pursuing the Hollywood dream.
Money. Yeah.
I've been taking my science fiction writing class, so we got to read all sorts of stuff. So this week we had to read a Jorge Luis Borges story, who's like one of those sort of magical realist Spanish authors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I thought it was going to be like heavy stuff. It was great.
Sure.
Just super fun story.
Okay.
Totally weird. It's like he piles on all this information that is, sort of showing off. But it was so interesting because there were like comedic things, and things, just how story works.
Yeah.
That was the ultimate problem with this movie, is that there were no reversals. They told us at the beginning what was going to happen, and it happened at the end. There was no point. There was no betrayals. There was nobody turning sides. At no point.
Dan, for a hot minute, I thought that he wasn't going to be Treadwell. I thought that he was actually going to be one of the bad guys. I was like, oh, that'll be fun. That's not the way it works. I thought it'd be cool if Treadwell was actually Water Pants? Horse?
Water Pants
what is his name?
Water Horse?
Horse, whatever the fuck the bad guy's name is. I thought it would be cool if they were switched positions, actually, and nobody knew. It doesn't matter.
There's a million things that it could have been like that. But there was literally nothing in the movie surprising.
Mm-mm.
And it's it's a thriller. You've got to the good guy's the bad guy, the woman you've been working, that's one of those Dan Brown ones, is like the woman he's working with turns out to be the bad guy at a certain point, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, spoiler alert. But let's be careful throwing the word thriller around, Dan, because this movie is not thrilling on any level.
So, Jorge Luis Borges, I want to watch some interviews with the dude. I'm going to read a little more, but it was so interesting because you read about these people and you're like, oh, it's going to be tough because everybody brainy talks about them. And talks about them too brainy-ish. And that's the thing. I've read some stuff about this story. And they all talked about it like, so brainy. And you're like...
It's novelization. Yeah.
Sure. That's how they sound, but that's not what they would say, Tony.
Well, I'm not smart enough to sound like them, Dan. Okay?
I'm a smart guy, but, you gotta, mix the high and the low. And a lot of times people are just like, they're playing too high, and Borges was playing high, but the low was right there as a critique of it was almost a critique of high. And the high doesn't get that it's a critique of them. And that's the whole point, that people always want everything to be about the trauma and about the this, But you see, you put the little spin in there, and you're all like, "Yeah, but I'm criticizing that at the exact same time."
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. Some good
So
stuff.
Tony, we gotta watch us a movie for next week. Which, yeah,
Yeah, I think I don't think we're gonna hate this movie, and you might have already seen it. To be honest, it's a pretty mainstream movie, but it's Thanksgiving time. If you celebrate that, do we celebrate? I don't even know.
but do us Gentiles celebrate Thanksgiving? Yes,
Yeah,
we do.
who do people not celebrate Thanksgiving? I don't even know what Thanksgiving is.
Wait, Thanksgiving, it can't. Maybe you didn't do Thanksgiving in your house.
No, we just ate food and watched football. That's Thanksgiving to me.
As opposed to what? Like ritual sacrifices of a turkey and then
Sure.
bathing
Well,
in
is
its
this
blood?
is this one of those pagan holidays? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, everything's
Anyhow.
a pagan holiday that the Christians took
Nah,
over.
not my birthday.
That's not a holiday.
Whoa. It is. And soon it will be a national holiday when I do something cool. I don't know what it's going to be, but stay tuned, everybody. Anyhow, so it's Thanksgiving time. So I was like, let's do a Thanksgiving-y movie, which there's not a lot of them. I don't know if you know this. It's not a ton
I'm
of
not
movies.
surprised there aren't a ton of Thanksgiving movies.
But there is this great film about turkeys rising up to stop the turkey massacres, which is, of course, what year is it? A 2013 animated film.
Chicken Run?
Starring not Chicken Run, the other one, which is Freebirds. You ever heard of this? You haven't heard of it? Great.
I think I've heard of it.
Well, it's 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Good.
It's got our good friend Owen Wilson is in it. Woody Harrelson is in it. And these turkeys apparently go back in time to stop the first Thanksgiving or something to that nature. I don't know.
I'm in. This is going to be, hopefully it's going to be good and hilarious and terrible hilarious, but
I don't know. It could just be good. Maybe it's the best Thanksgiving film ever made. I don't know.
What's it called?
It's called Freebirds.
Freebirds. Okay.
Freebird.
Oh, there's a lot of bad animated movies that we should never watch.
I think this one's going to be good.
Yeah, no, this seems like it's, it's not written for like 4-year-olds. It sounds like it's written for a family audience, so they're going to try and make jokes.
There should be some adult humor
and maybe the jokes are incredibly inappropriate. Maybe the jokes never land.
It's probably that one.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? You never know.
You never know. Eat some ham this week, everybody. Not a turkey. Save the turkeys.
Save the turkeys. So if you like we're doing Italian food.
Are you really? Yeah. Like mastacholi?
We're going to get a big tray of lasagna.
Where are you getting that from? Let's put a plug. Where are you getting it?
We're going to be out in Apple Valley where my parents live, and we're going to Mama Carpino's.
Mama Carpina says the lasagna.
So we're getting the big lasagna, making the salad, make some garlic bread, and, just take it a little less over the top.
Sure. We're going full Thanksgiving. I'm not going to lie. We're doing ham, mashed potatoes. We're doing smokies, those little barbecue hot dogs, best thing, green bean casserole. There's only 2 of us, but I'm making 8 people's worth of food. So I'm very excited.
Wow. Very exciting, Tony.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Anyhow, Freebirds.
So if you like the show, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, and we'll be back next week talking about some Freebirds, baby. Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Ooh, goodbye, everybody.